All right, friends, so I'm going to keep reading a little bit from Super Fudge. I wasn't with you on Friday when you read some, so I'm not exactly sure where you stopped, but it looks like where you stopped, it looks like Fudge was with Peter and they were at Mrs. Moldor's house. So I'll just start at the top of the page and we'll see. You may have heard some of it, but that's okay. Peter says you eat them all the time and he knows everything because he's naturally smart except for matching questions. Mrs. Moldor and Beverly looked at each other. Fudge continued. So, do you? Do we what? Mrs. Moldor asked. Eat worms for supper tonight. Alex let out a groan, and I could see our business was going down the drain. Mrs. Moldor smiled at Fudge. Yes, we did, she told him. Beverly added, there's nothing like home-baked worms, and my mother's recipe is the best. We eat them instead of cauliflower, Mrs. Moldor said. We need to get our vitamins one way or another. Are your worms fortified? Fudge asked. Alex groaned again. My worms are naturally fortified, Mrs. Moldor said. They're chock full of vitamins. No preservatives, nothing added, just the real thing. She was beginning to sound like a commercial for worms. I could hear the announcer saying, buy Mrs. Moldor's naturally fortified worms. They're chock full of vitamins. Grind them up in your favorite recipe, blend them into your milkshake, serve them instead of cauliflower on those special occasions. Would you like to taste my special worm cookies? Mrs. Moldor asked Fudge. Yes, Fudge said, following Mrs. Moldor into the house. We marched through the house to the kitchen. On the counter was a big plate of cookies. Fresh out of the oven, Mrs. Moldor said. They look like chocolate chips, Fudge said. They are, Mrs. Moldor told him. Chocolate chip worm cookies. Which part is worm? Fudge asked. Mrs. Moldor laughed. You can't see the worms. I grind them up and mix them into the flour. Just like my commercial, I thought. Go on, Mrs. Moldor said, offering a plate of cookies to Fudge. Take one. Fudge chose a cookie and held it to his lips. But he hesitated, and I could see he wasn't sure he really wanted to taste chocolate chip worm cookie after all. Beverly took one and shoved it into her mouth all at once. She said, these are really good, Mom. She took another and ate it quickly, too. She brushed the crumbs off her hands. Fudge bit into his cookie. He chewed it up very slowly. It's good, he said. You can't even taste the worms. Mrs. Moldor offered the plate to Alex and me. We each took a cookie. Fudge asked if he could have another, and Mrs. Moldor said she'd do better than that. She wrapped a little package of cookies for him to take home with him. When we got home, Fudge dumped out his pillowcase on the dining room table. He arranged his loot in stacks and counted everything. 11 M&Ms, 7 Nestle Crunch, 5 Hershey's without almonds, 3 with, 2 Milky Ways, 1 granola bar, 4 apples, and 6 worm cookies. What did you say? Mom asked him. Nothing, Mom, I told her. He didn't say anything. Did you, Fudge? Here, Mommy, Fudge said, have a cookie. Mrs. Moldor just baked them. Thank you, Mom said. She tasted it. Very good. I wonder where she got her recipe. It's been in her family a long time, I said. And they're naturally fortified with... I didn't give him a chance to finish. No preservatives, no additives, naturally fortified and chock full of vitamins, right, Fudge? Right, PETA, he said, smiling, and I knew that he understood. All right, I'll stop there for today. Next up is Chapter 9, Super Fudge.